My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Jacob and I are going to break down the entire UFC Vegas 71 fight card. We're going to give you our picks. We're going to give you our predictions. We're going to give you our bets. We're going to give you our fantasy plays. And this is an interesting fight night. Great main event. Couple of solid undercard fights. Let's go ahead and break that down. But before I break that down, if you want $50, right, we're heading into the summer. Graduation is coming. You got to get somebody a graduation gift. If you want $50, I will send you $50. I'll send it to you. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. The only thing you need to do is go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Use our link to sign up with any one of our sportsbook partners. Make a deposit, and I send you $50 as a thank you. That's wewantpicks.com/bets. Use the links. Sign up. Make a deposit. I'll send you $50. We spent a lot of time talking about premium. And most of you just want to copy-paste bets, right? And for the most part, that's successful, right? You have your highs, you have your lows. Overall, in the year, we're up a good amount. Overall, it's very successful. But we have far more than just copy-paste bets. We also have tools. One of the tools that we have for you is the line movement tracker. I talk about this a lot. This doesn't exist anywhere else. I know a lot of you go to Best Fight Odds to get your odds. That just shows you odds. What that's not going to do is give you all 13 fights, all 14 fights on a card, and show you every single fighter in an interactive, sortable chart, their opening odds, their current odds, the current probability, and the line movement. This gives you all of that. This card alone, there are three fighters, that have gone from underdog to favorite. I bet all three of them as an experiment. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we also have detailed data and metrics. So you log into Premium, become a Premium member. You can see all of our bets. But before you just copy the best, look at the tools. Check out the metrics and analytics. Work your way across it. Wow, this is a really good striker. Oh, wow, he lands this many significant strikes per minute. His opponent throws this many, blah, 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 blah. Work your way across. Find your spots. Make decisions. Then check out our bets. And if your thoughts and our thoughts align, boom, hit those bets. Make it happen. All this is available to you for only $10 a month at wewantpicks.com. We also happen to have the best DraftKings ownership projections in the game. This is an actual fact. This isn't just me saying, this is a fact.
That's a scientific fact.
It literally is. We have a guy, his name is Josh. He does all of our stats. He brings in 6 different sources and then he weights them. And he doesn't just weight, source 1 to source 2. He knows source 1 is very accurate with the favorites. Source 2 is very accurate with the underdog. Source 3, he has ridiculous formulas, and we come up with our own unique DraftKings ownership projection number. It smashes roto grinders. It smashes every dumb dick's $5 Patreon. It blows through all of that. This is what last week looked like. Literally every single week we have the best ownership in the game, and we are adding analysts. We have added new analysts. Revenant, if you're watching this, Revenant commented on a video the other day saying, hey, I can't see the confidence picks anymore. Premium has a new look and feel. You log in, click on analyst. You'll see me, Jacob, Artem, and there's going to be more to come. Once you get to our page, you can look at this graphic. Artem has the fight, the pick, his confidence level for each pick, and then his round lean, over 2.5, under 2.5, etc. All of that is a unique experience for each individual analyst. We're adding more as we go. WeWantPicks.com. It's $10 a month. You unlock every single one of these things. There's no tiers. People trying to tier out their memberships, that's a scam. No tiers. WeWantPicks.com. $10 a month.
I was looking in there. I was really getting in there to figure out who the hell Artem had in that Bruna Brazil Denise Gomes fight. And that's a big fat Brazil on that page.
So we're just going to shit on our contributors for no reason? Cool.
No,
guys, we also accept credit cards now. A ton of you, I don't have PayPal. PayPal's too woke for me. I can't have PayPal in my country. Whatever it is. We now directly accept credit cards. And actually, it's not as easy as it sounds. We had to upgrade our membership software. We had to integrate with a third-party processor. And
that's why premium is now $20 a month.
And for only $86. So you can sign up directly with credit card. WeWantPicks.com. Sign up. Do all the things. It's the greatest value in this industry. 2 fun facts. 1, it's by far the greatest value. I don't even need to check that. Anybody else know that? 2, did you know we have the most successful premium in this space, period? Nobody comes close. Nobody comes close. Nobody. Like, we've got thousands, plural, of premium members. The next closest
welcome.
is like 600. It's not even close. I appreciate everything you do. Before we break down this card, we got a couple of super chatterooskis.
Oh, and can I make an announcement as well before we get into these? I just want to say that
this is going to be
it's not stupid. I just want to give an update because people are very invested. I see it in the live stream right now about Amanda Ribas, and it has been a little bit quiet on the Amanda Ribas front. I've actually kind of taken a step back and let her kind of think about the situation. That's what you got to kind of do with the girls sometimes. Get a little separation. Once you remove yourself, then they kind of want you more. And it's been pretty quiet, the last week, 2 weeks, something like that. And then today, I didn't make any contact with her. She went back on a post and this post from 8 days ago for her own post, found my comment, and replied to my comment today from a post 8 days ago with posts in between. She went back, and that was the last time I commented on one of her posts. So she's been thinking about it. Why isn't he Why isn't he liking my post? Yeah. She went back, found it, commented. So we're back on the rails.
Congrats! It's like when an ex likes a picture from 2 years ago. I don't know.
That's right.
Congrats.
She put it was pretty personal too.
It was just a smiley face.
And what? No. I mean, it was much more. It was, Angela, it was 2 smiley faces.
oh, my bad. With the sunglasses. My bad. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, $5 super chat from Joey T. What's up, everybody? Smash that like button. Become a member. What are you waiting on? And throw some respect on Jacob's name. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Thank you Thank you very much.
You hear that, Amanda?
Quint Lazenby, $10 super chat. Quint says, my winning units from last card pays for 64 months of premium membership. WWP is the best. Invaluable insight, even better entertainment. Thank you very much, Quint. 64 months is $640. That's also 60 months is 5 years. So great job, Quinty.
On the dot.
A little more, a little buffer in there as well.
What are you doing at 7:00 on the dot?
What?
At 7:00 on the dot, what do you think you should be doing?
Today? Every day?
Yeah, on 7:00 on the dot.
Is this like some young cool kid thing that I don't know because I'm 39?
You should know, honestly.
What am I doing?
You're not in your drop top cruising the street?
Okay. Okay.
You should know that. You should know that.
First up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have Brady Hiestand taking on Danaa Bagharai. Brady Hiestand is 6-2 overall. He's 3-2 in his last 5. He is alternating wins and losses. Danaa Bagharai or Bagharai Danaa is 12-4 overall. 3-2 in his last 5. He is coming off 2 losses in a row. This is a good old-fashioned striker versus grappler matchup. Danaa Bagharai, very good striker. He comes forward. He's got good volume, good speed, solid power. His speed is one of the most impressive things about him. He will beat most people immediately to the punch. Takedown defense just okay at 66%. He's going to need it in this fight because Brady Hiestand's a pretty good wrestler. And he does a solid job establishing positions, racking up control time. Boxing is just okay. He can struggle if you pressure him, but he's got really nice scramble skills, plenty of cardio, and he's coming off that win over Fernie Garcia. That was your lock of the week. That was a crazy come-from-behind win. Fernie Garcia almost had him out of there.
That was almost one of the greatest lock of the weeks of all time. The first punch Fernie threw drops him, and then he almost submits him because I had a wild-ass submission bet on Fernie in that fight.
Well, he was able to survive. Then he worked in some takedowns and control. I like Danaa to win this fight. It is a tricky matchup. Danaa's one of those guys, he burst onto the scene, looked great. Now he's on a little bit of a skid, and it's always hard breaking these people down because you just never know when that's going to end, right? Is it just a 2-fight skid and it is what it is? Or that's it. Like he peaked, that's it. Like something broke mentally and he's just never going to be there again. I do think he's going to get it done. I think he's going to be so much faster with his hands. We saw Brady get dropped against Fernie. Danaa's got insane power. I think Danaa's going to light up Brady, be able to defend whatever takedowns come his way, be so much faster. So Danaa's definitely the pick here. But this line tightened a bit. What do you think, Jakey?
Yeah, someone in the chat, by the way, said that they like your hat, which is available, right, in the shop if they like that hat.
It is available.
Yeah, he said he specifically likes those like the stitch marks and stuff on there, how it looks all beaten up. And I told
that's
him
why, and it's not a hard brim. I have a small.
Yeah, and I told him that it didn't come like that. Those are stretch marks for.
Oh, okay. It comes like this. It's called the dad hat, so it's pre-worn. Like Jacob's hat has a hard brim, but Jacob has a massive head for such a tiny body. I have a small head. I'm 6'3", 260.
I do have
and
a
I have
couple
a
big
very
heads.
My head is small for my body, so I can't wear those hard front hats. Go ahead. Just fucking, what are we talking? Go ahead, break down the.
Well, you're the one getting weird. I don't know. Yeah, I actually, the opening odds were what, minus 175, I think, for Danaa. I actually think I agree with those a little bit more. I don't understand the closing of the odds. I guess people are just seeing, cut and dry. Brady can wrestle. Danaa is, his record kind of shows that he's got a first round or bust type of guy, and Brady should be able to withstand the power in people's minds of that first round. But if you watch Danaa in that last fight, He was boxing the same in the first round as he was in the third round. Fast hands. He just got the absolute shit beat out of his front leg.
Couldn't get past the jab.
Yeah, and his front leg was absolutely destroyed. And guess what? He was still marching forward, trying to get the job done. He is just pretty much a pure boxer, but he can do that for 3 rounds. And Brady, as you saw versus Fernie, not only that first punch that Fernie threw, but even in the exchanges after that, Brady is a very hittable guy. And especially if he starts wrestling and he doesn't get a guy out of there because he didn't get Fernie out of there and he was wrestling. He had to overcome a little bit of adversity in that fight, as we mentioned, but he does kind of wear down. When he wears down, his wrestling becomes a little bit more desperate, and his striking definitely, his hands are low and it is very, very sloppy. And I just think Danaa eventually is going to catch the chin of Brady after he, kind of wrestles himself out and then gets a little bit sloppy on the feet, and Danaa's going to be there maybe a second round KO TKO for Danaa. But I actually like him a lot in this matchup. I don't know what Brady's going to bring. I just don't think he can lay it on for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I hear you. I think I agree with you. We're on the same side. And you know why we have the best graphics in the game? Because everything is right here on the screen. You said Brady's hittable. Dude only lands 2.83 significant strikes per minute, and he is hit with 4.03. He is hit far more often than he hits his opponents, where Danaa is the exact opposite. Danaa is a high output guy at 6.22.
Yeah, he's just in there boxing.
Yeah, he's so fast. He literally beats people to the punch. We're both on the same side here. I agree with Danaa. No bet because, I get a little squirrely sometimes with some of these unproven people on 2-fight skids. If you're on a 2-fight skid, but it's because you have been fighting some of the best in the world, or you took a step up in competition, now you're back down, I got no problem. But, Danaa's loss was to Kyung-Ho Kang, and, he should absolutely win, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. $8,700 to $7,500 DraftKings. While I'm not going to bet on Danaa, I do think he's worth the $8,700. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say probably.
That's all you have?
Well, I don't know what you want from me. I agreed with you. You said, I think it's worth it, so I said probably. Yeah.
All right.
You mean dive into the numbers? Do you know how many nickels it takes to make $8,700? I can do it off the top of my head. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Fucking ton.
What an absolute...
Just a fucking ton of them. There's going to be a lot of them.
Fucking buffoon of a man. Hold on. In the chat, the guy wants the hat. So go to that shop. We actually have 2 shops, which is kind of annoying. That shop has the hat. We got to update the shop we have directly in the website. Works great. Has a ton of stuff, but this hat specifically was from the original Streamlabs directly shop. Anyway, we're both on the same side here. I don't have any bets here, but the line movement is interesting, and keep an eye on that with the line movement tracker over the course of the week, especially after weigh-ins. That's when you're going to get the biggest jump, and it's always nice to see where lines start, because lots of times we break down the fights, I just see where it is. And then when I pull up the tracker and I see where it started, it does sway your mind a little bit. And lately, the line movement has been correct. The moving line has been more correct.
What's that?
Are you about to make fun of the noise?
I was about to, and then I actually didn't know. I forgot what it was, and as I was saying it out loud, I remembered what it was, just crinkling that bag of peas.
All right, well, I have a bag of peas on my dick.
God, smell it.
The peas do stink. I'm clean. I just showered. Because I got a vasectomy on Friday, and I did too much too soon, and it's quite painful. I don't know how to sit still. It's quite painful. So, there's that. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71. You know what's annoying about this being UFC Vegas 71? a couple of cards ago was UFC Vegas 71. But they just renamed that to UFC Las Vegas. So this is the second UFC Vegas 71.
Well, it wasn't Vegas. I mean, it was in a different arena, so.
It was Vegas, yeah.
In a different arena, wasn't Apex, so.
Well, this isn't UFC Apex 71. It's UFC Vegas 71.
I think that's pretty well determined that every time they have it and it's numbered like that, it's at the Apex, and that fight card was not at the Apex.
Well, they were the ones using the hashtag Vegas 71, and then they just changed it.
No, they weren't. It was Las Vegas the entire time.
Priscila Cachoeira taking on Karine Silva. Priscila Cachoeira 12-4 overall, 4-1 in her last 5, coming off the knockout win over Ariana Lipski. And she's taking on Karine Silva, 15-4 overall, 5-0 in her last 5. And she has all stoppage wins. Priscila Cachoeira, this line has tightened quite a bit. I agree with this line movement because Priscila Cachoeira is really tough. She's a powerful striker. She's got heavy pressure. She throws big-time punches. Takedown defense, just okay at 65%, but her takedown accuracy is absolutely abysmal. But she's not going to need that in this fight. She can be KO or bust at times, but she does have legitimate power for this division. She's taking on Karine Silva. Karine Silva is a grappler, a powerful grappler who's constantly working for a submission, whether she's on top or on bottom. She's throwing stuff up, looking to get you out of there. She has 15 wins with 15 stoppages, and those are a mixed bag of ground and pound and submissions, but they're all sort of ground related. She's not stopping people on their feet. She's going to come forward, throw a flurry, get you against the cage, and then work you down. I do think Karine Silva wins this fight. It should be a pretty straightforward win for her, honestly. We've seen Priscila have some issues with grapplers in the past, but Priscila is tough. She's dangerous. And we have seen over the last couple of months, couple of weeks especially, a lot of these stoppage-only type people, if they can't get the stoppage and they're fighting a tough, gritty person, they fade and they have issues later. So Karine should win this fight. She's never seen a decision. And if she ends up somehow in the second or third round because Priscila's so tough, all of a sudden this could be a much, much different fight. And Priscila could end up with a very late second or third round type stoppage situation. But Karine is going to be the pick because of the grappling and the skill gap there. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think there is a cause for concern when it comes to Silva in this matchup because Priscila's nickname is the Zombie Girl for a reason. I mean, she will just keep coming forward and take every shot you give. But the good news is Silva, as you mentioned, is more of the grappler type, right? I mean, she wants to get on the ground. She wants to submit you. She wants to ground and pound you. So she's not going to be trying to knock the head off Priscila. She can do it in other ways, submissions and that sort of thing, where being tough sometimes just doesn't matter. I mean, if you're just getting a bad position. But Karine, for as good of a grappler and as good a wrestler as she is, her stand-up is pretty slick. And what I love about her stand-up is her defense is very, very strong. Footwork, head movement, hand positioning. Even when she strikes, she's very in, she's very out, very quick. And against Priscila, that's what you need because we know exactly who Priscila is. She's just going to stalk you. She's going to have that right hand just cocked, and just time it and just throw it and just hope she lands. And she will do that for 15 straight minutes. So you have to be sound defensively. I think Silva is very, very sound defensively, can get this fight to the ground and do what she does on the ground. But as you mentioned, if this does get out of the first round, you know, there are going to be some question marks and some probably nervous parlay holders, I would imagine. So,
you know, I would not parlay this fight.
Yeah,
I would not parlay this fight.
Silva's the play. But, you know, Priscila's, she's won how many, so many out of so many. I mean, 4 of the last 5, and the other one was to Jillian Robertson. So,
no, she definitely, she's super tough. She's always going to be live because of how tough she is and that power she has. I would not parlay Karine Silva. Absolutely not. You said that, and I don't think people are actually doing it, but I wouldn't.
I guarantee there's people doing it.
Well, there's always people doing stupid shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking to those type of people.
One of the best facts that I heard, it was Chris Riley. He joins our call-in show. Dude, is an actual...
This guy's a piece of shit.
The dude is an actual insider.
I'll never forget. Oh, your 3 lock of the weeks is pretty funny.
Yeah, he lit you up there. But anyway, he knows this industry, not necessarily MMA, but the betting industry better than anybody, essentially. And one of the coolest facts he said is 97%, and it may be 93, something like that, but 90 some odd percent of all bets taken in sports books are $5 or less, and it's to pay out plus 1,000 or more.
People are paying the
So
rent.
that means all of you have these little small parlays just chasing stupid money. And it's funny. And it's funny because, like, my cousin, I gave him a premium membership. He sent me a screenshot. It was like 11 sports, 19 pick parlay for like $5. It's like, dude, what do you do? Like, Jesus.
That he hit?
Yeah, but he only sends me the one he hits. Who knows how many he's missing?
Well, that's what my favorite part is in Discord. By the way, Discord's 100% free. You can guys join Discord. We have a lot of fun in there. Somebody will post like a 10-leg parlay with the question, what do you guys think? It's like it's a fucking 10-leg parlay. It's probably not going to hit. I mean, what do you mean? What do you think? Should I switch this for this? It's a 10-leg parlay. Just fucking let it ride, you know? It's there for fun.
Yeah, I mean, well, and I totally get. Well, honestly, all of this is for fun. All of this is for fun. If you're betting money that you can't lose, like, honestly, you just shouldn't be doing that. But it's all in good fun. We are both on the Karine Silva side.
With no balls.
I still have them. The tubes just aren't connected anymore. I was about to say something gruesome. I decided not.
Go ahead.
They literally cut a hole.
Oh, here we go.
They rip the hole open. They go in. They pull out the tubes that connect the testes to the goo. They snip them. They crimp metal on the ends of each tube, and they don't even sew you back up. They're just like, yeah, that hole will close itself. And yesterday my hole was closed. Today it's not. So I've done too much. It's opened. So it doesn't bleed, but it's scary. Anyway, WeWantPicks.com. It'll help me pay for whatever recovery I'm going to need. We'd really appreciate if you became a premium member at WeWantPicks.com.
Dr. Wise said, this stream is gross. Jacob, please start acting up.
I
just let you go, man.
Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we have Francis Marshall taking on William Gomis. Francis Marshall, undefeated in his career, 7-0 overall. He's got 5 stoppage wins. He's taking on William Gomis, 11-2 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. He's riding a 9-fight win streak. This is another one. This line collapsed in on itself, but Francis Marshall is still a 2-1 favorite. He opened as a 4-1 favorite. The line collapsed, and he's still a massive favorite here. I think he should be a favorite. You and I disagree. You'll talk about that in a second. Francis is a heavy-handed grappler. He comes forward. He's got power on his feet. He's got speed on his feet, and he sets up good old-fashioned shoot doubles and singles takedowns, and then he's got solid grappling. He's comfortable striking. He can be a little too comfortable at times. Right? Hands a little low, playing these stupid games that he should not be playing.
Good point.
But once he gets going, once he starts grappling, it's fantastic. He's got all the energy he's ever needed and well-timed shots to get through that. He is taking on William Gomis, though. William Gomis, very well-rounded. He's always looking for a finish. He can knock you out. He can submit you. He can outwork you. He's fast. He's athletic. He's all the things. Very, very dangerous guy. He's got a Muay Thai striking style. He's not really like offensive grappling as much as he is snatching things up in scrambles, but he is finding them. He is grabbing them. I think Francis wins this fight. What I will say, though, is these are 2 young prospects, and I said this in my quick picks. They could both be ranked by the end of next year or mid next year. They could both be ranked. I don't know why the UFC is like, hey, let's take these 2 guys that we could turn into something. Let's make them fight each other now. Because one of them is going to lose.
If they fight for a title here in 3 years, they can put the number 2 next to it, the big rematch.
Actually, you hear about the massive rematch we're about to get?
The big main event. Yeah, go ahead and make that announcement.
We just found out this is the main event, and this is a rematch we've all been looking for. I'm legit pumped.
I know. When you told me, I was like, "There's no way." It was crazy.
And thank God, because we just lost the Benito Dariush fight. Like, we've had some bad news.
Yeah, these next couple weeks, and then even the 288. It's like, it is what it is. But yeah, this is pumped. No,
the UFC just announced we are going to get Raquel Pennington versus Irene Aldana 2. Pumped.
Oh my God.
Main event.
Just hearing you say it out loud again, I'll be honest with you. If I didn't jerk off earlier.
I adjust these peas. Actually, you know what helps with that? Peas.
Peas, yeah. You think
Cold
so?
peas. Cold peas in the peen. Anyway, I think Francis Marshall can win this fight. I think he's going to come forward. He can do that relentless wrestling and get it done. He does have insane power in his hands. Francis Marshall has good power in his hands. And he can wrestle. And William Gomis can be gun shy. So if William Gomis is gun shy and Francis Marshall decides to wrestle, Francis should absolutely win this fight. Shouldn't be an issue. Am I betting it? No. Was I tempted to bet it? Yes. Is the issue that maybe they removed my confidence, my manhood, a little bit more than just a couple of snips?
They took my mojo.
Could be, because I wanted to bet it and I chose not to. But maybe we get lucky with a Francis Marshall takedown line that looks something like a half or one. But I think Francis Marshall wins. Why don't you tell us why you disagree?
Yeah, I'm not sure how Francis Marshall wins this fight. I know everyone assumes, and the odds are the way they are, that he's just going to come in here and out-wrestle the striker. I mean, has to be what everyone just assumes. Francis Marshall can come in and start wrestling William Gomis, going to dominate this French striker. And let me just preface this, too, by saying I am going to pick Gomis in this fight. But I am a little bit wary because the last two Frenchmen really screwed me over. I mean, Imavov and Gan, I was so high on both of them, and I'm about to be even higher on William Gomis in this matchup because I just love his striking. You do mention it's a little bit slow, it's a little bit methodical. He will literally just stand flat-footed with that, like he's not a Muay Thai fight. He will just stand there and just wait for you to make a move, and then he will try to snipe you. On the ground, he is very, very well improved. He even has said in the past, when I started fighting, everyone, when I'd go to the gym, they would just out-wrestle me, and I promised myself that I will never get out-wrestled in a fight. He took it on himself. You love when fighters do that, right? I mean, hey, Darren Till, you stupid fuck. You love seeing people improve. And not only did he learn how to defensive wrestle, but now he is using wrestling in his own right to win fights. He won that last fight because of his wrestling against I know it's not wrestling, but against a judo black belt that he had in body lock situations, and he still was able to position him to takedowns, win scrambles, get that strong whistle, throw him over, and get top positions. And I just think that Francis is going to come in and really kind of understand that there are levels to this game, and William Gomis is not somebody that he can just come in, take down, and out-wrestle. And you mentioned the power on his hands. His last fight was his first ever professional knockout TKO, and it was against Marcelo Rojo. I absolutely love.
I was going to say, he's a dog.
But he's a very hittable guy. He gets dropped all the time. And, even Marcelo Rojo on the feet at times was lighting Francis Marshall up. As you mentioned, that was a great point by you. He can get too comfortable in the striking. I think the exact same thing happens here because he's going to push forward. Williams is going to wait. So Francis is going to feel like he's having success in the striking because he's pushing William back. And he's just going to get sniped. And even if it goes to the ground, I think William can control positions on the ground. I think that when I broke this down, I thought it was going to be probably about a pick-em because they are young guys and they're both up-and-comers. And then I saw the odds. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? And I can't even believe they opened at minus 400. Give me William Gomis in this all day, every day. Last chance for the Frenchies.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we're obviously split on this. I do think Francis wins, but I didn't bet it. But I'm also just a little more conservative than you in general. $9,200 in DraftKings? No. Because, there's too much risk there. Because William Gomis could absolutely stop him. And I know Francis has stoppages, but he's not, 5 of 7. That's a lot, but it's not like he's absolutely blowing through everybody who's existing.
And if he gets in a position where he's on the back of William Gomis, I'm going to be sitting here with my William Gomis pick and shitting my pants. I mean, that's how. If he is able to get to those positions, he can definitely win the fight. I don't want to seem like he has no chance in this fight, even though I kind of said that in the beginning of the breakdown.
Even though I literally said.
But I just think that William Gomis is going to be the better striker in what should be a mostly striking matchup.
Yeah, I think I would bet you here, but you're going to say, I want odds, and I'm not laying out 2-1 odds on Francis Marshall. But I do think Francie gets it done. I'm going for America here.
How about you want to do this? I'll bet you straight up, but there has to be a finish. Either Francis has to finish William, or William has to finish Francis, and then I'll bet you straight up $100.
And it's a push.
Because I don't want to. Because I don't want to lose a bet if Francis just lays on him for 15 minutes. All
right, I'll do that.
With straight odds, you know what I mean?
All right.
Okay.
Hundo.
So it has to be a finish. Otherwise, it's a wash either way.
All right, fair enough. Fair game.
Smart. It's crazy. It's crazy.
This is the first time. This is the first time
we've so smart.
This is the first time we've bet that it didn't start with an argument. It's usually like, you know what? Fine, fuck it, $100.
Well, that sounds like you. I would never act like that.
Yeah, no, you're always
cool, calm, and collected. Cool as that cucumber that you've been using for your fucking balls.
It's peas.
Well.
And
sometimes you slide that cucumber down the ball.
Okay, all right. The kid who keeps bananas in his freezer is going to lecture me about cucumbers.
We had a lot of fun with some bananas Saturday on the live stream. If you guys haven't watched the live stream, they're a lot of fun.
Anyway, all right. Well, Jacob and I are split on this. We do have a bet amongst each other, and if you want to see if there's bets on premium, And there are on this fight. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click become a member. It's $10 a month. You're going to get absolutely everything, including my safety parlay, which hits. It missed last week, but even with last week's miss, it hits at 70%. It's
what
up
was the miss last week.
What's his name?
Was it a round line?
Chris Gutierrez.
Chris Gutierrez. He broke me too.
He absolutely blew it. And I went Gutierrez instead of Rafa Garcia because I was like, Gutierrez but I trust Pedro Munoz to suck more than I trust Clay Guida to suck. And yeah, that was a mistake on my part. But even with that loss, the safety parlay hits at a 70% clip. 70% clip on the year. That safety parlay is up 6 total units. If you're new to premium, only want to try one thing, try the safety parlay. It has never been down money over the course of a 30-day period. Ever.
There's that jinx.
I know. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have some of the wildest line movement you have seen on this card. We'll talk about that in a second. We have the battle of the younger brothers. Mohammed Usman taking on Junior Tafa. Mohammed Usman, 8-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5 years, coming off the Ultimate Fighter win. And he's Kamaru Usman's younger, much larger brother. He's taking on Junior Tafa, 4-0 in his MMA career, but he's got all stoppage wins and a very hefty professional kickboxing background, and he is Justin Tafa's younger brother. Tafa, whatever. Well, the line movement is interesting here because you're going to see they opened about even, right? Junior opened as an underdog. He skyrocketed to like a minus 290, or no, minus 240 favorite. Yeah, minus 240 favorite. And then it collapsed on itself, came back down, and now we're pretty steady where he is a favorite. So he went from underdog to favorite, not a ton of movement, from the opening to where we are now. But it did full on flip. And it's an interesting matchup because when I first did my breakdown, what are you laughing at?
Every time you shift, I just hear those P's crinkling.
It's that loud.
No, it's just a little bit, but I know what it was, so I just started laughing.
What the hell was I saying? Oh, when I first did this breakdown, I picked Usman. But I ended up betting on Tafa, and I'll explain why. Don't just blindly tail. There's even notes in premium why I bet on him. Anyway, Mohammed Usman. As you know, he has big power in his hands. That's how he won the Ultimate Fighter. But if you watch that fight, he was a step behind the entire time. He was getting lit up and then landed that big punch. He does have some wrestling. He's not a wrestler like his brother. He was a college football player, but he's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's well coached. And you can actually see his wrestling evolve over fights. He went from just bending over and grabbing legs to lowering his level and shooting takedowns. But, he's a little late to be starting an MMA career, but he's a big, giant, powerful, athletic heavyweight, and those guys can have success later. He's taking on Junior Tafa. Junior Tafa is a nasty kickboxer. He's fast. He's aggressive. He has power. He's the 2.0 version of his brother. He still has the chin, but he's bigger, faster, more athletic, and has better technique. The big question is his wrestling defense. If you go back, he only has 4 MMA fights to watch. Not easy to find tape on. But if you watch a fight against Nicholas Djurdjevic, he was taken down quickly. And he was controlled, but he worked his way back up, and he got the finish. So the big question here is, can Usman take Tafa down? If he can, then Usman can win this fight. If he can't, then Tafa's going to knock him out. It's just literally that simple. My original pick was Usman because I'm like, I think he can get the takedown. But as we have seen, we saw it with John Jones. We saw it with Kelvin Gastelum. We saw it last week with, who was it last week that was an underdog, became a favorite?
I do not recall.
Shit. Didn't I write it down? Is it in my notes? Oh my God. What an absolute.
Who's running the teleprompter?
Just absolute buffooning it right now.
Let's run it back. He lost his place, guys.
Yep, I don't see it. Anyway, there was that fight last week. Oh, it was fucking Tanner Bozer. So Jan Kutalaba. Because I was on the wrong side of all. I was on the wrong side of all 3 of those, and I decided I'm going to bet the line movement tracker. I'm going to use the line movement tracker, use my own tool, and bet purely based off that data. So Usman's the more logical pick here because he can wrestle. But the tracker has told us over the last couple of months, when somebody opens as an underdog and closes as a favorite, the original line, or sorry, that is correct. The original line is wrong. That movement was correct. I bet this quarter of a unit on Junior Tafa just because the line flipped. Jakey boy, what do you think?
Tafa. On Junior Tafa. I did. Bet quarter unit on Junior Tafa. Yeah, I actually bet on Tafa too because at even money, I think this is an even fight, and I got even money for an even fight back when it was minus 110 for both guys. So I did put a half unit because I think that's exactly. I think this is an absolute coin toss. I think this is an absolute coin toss fight. I picked, when it's an even money, then I'm going to pick the better fighter. And I think that Junior Tafa was the better fighter at even money. That's why I put it. That's a little bit better description of why I put the money on. I didn't just flip a coin, but he is going to be the better fighter. He's going to be the better striker. Usman, as you mentioned, might have the wrestling. I don't think he's going to mess around. I think he's going to try and take Tafa's head off because that's exactly what he does. And he can take anyone's head off in the heavyweight division. He is raw power, and when he hits you, you go to sleep. And Junior Tafa, I understand that he's this world-class kickboxer, whatever it is, but you've mentioned time and time again before, and you've seen Alex Pereira kind of get in trouble with it at times. When you have on those 4-ounce gloves, and you're used to blocking with those big-ass gloves, and you're one of those guys that just kind of stands in front of people with a high guard, which if you watch his kickboxing matches, he does that. He just stands with a high guard. People punch his arms, punch the gloves. He counters. He knocks people out. Against Usman, with those 4-ounce gloves, those are not going to protect you. When he starts swinging those big paws around, those are not going to protect you. So you better be careful in there. I think this is a complete toss-up fight. Whoever knocks out whoever person. I believe that Junior Tafa can kind of get inside and beat him to the punch, right? I mean, with those wild shots, they're slow and they're telegraphed. So I believe that Junior can beat him to the punch. That's why I picked him. I got him for even money, and I think he's a better fighter. But I think it's a complete coin toss. And if you can't get the even money anymore, I would just leave this fight alone. Or you can get, but I think Boston have first round KO TKOs for plus money, so you might do something weird with that. But this could be another situation where they're both scared of each other's power and they just stare at each other for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Tafa should 100% win this fight. The wrestling is the only. Obviously, Usman can knock anybody out.
You say 100%. I don't agree with that.
I said should, not will. Should.
I know should win it 100%, which means you're pretty confident. I'm not that confident.
Yeah, I guess I meant to say if it's standing. If it's standing, like you're mentioning,
I still
Usman
don't think it's 100%.
Yeah, I mean, just watch Usman versus Pauga. Like he was getting lit up. Like his striking differential was absolute trash. Getting touched up, and Pauga is just small and not that powerful. Where Junior Tafa has got all the power in the world. So anyway, the only reason I agree, you should not bet this fight. The only reason I bet this fight is because it's an experiment. The note is in premium. This is an experiment. Don't blindly tail. So that's why I bet it. We'll see what happens. And this may be the new thing. The line movement tracker may just be making these bets for us. 8,000 in DraftKings, 8,200. I do think you're going to need one of those people in your DraftKings lineup. One of them is going to score a ton of points. So pick your side. Throw one of them in your lineup. I'm on the Tafa side, obviously. But should absolutely make it happen. Under 2.5, that is not the line, unfortunately. Somebody just commented, Jesse, the line is 1.5, and I'm not touching that line personally because, like you said, Jacob, they could just stare at each other for a little bit.
It's even money, minus 103, basically.
Yeah, they could just stare. 1.5 lines are super tricky, and they could just stare at each other. There's no reason to go out there swinging wild immediately, especially Tafa, new to the UFC. Anyway, you want to check out all of our picks, bets, round line leans, and all the tools I keep mentioning. WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. You're going to get 4 events with that. 4 events. 4. That's not per event. That's per month. WeWantPicks.com. Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we have another full-blown line movement flip. We got Karol Rosa opening as a good-sized favorite, now the underdog against Norma Dumont. Karol Rosa 16-4 overall, 4-1 in her last 5, and she is coming off the win over Lena Landsberg. She's taking on Norma Dumont. Norma Dumont 8-2 overall, 4-1 in her last 5, and she's coming off that win over professional boxer Danielle Wolf. Karol Rosa is an okay striker, right? Her technique is just okay, but she does have a lot of volume, and she is willing to trade. She's a decision fighter. She's got solid takedowns on both sides, offense and defense. She has 10 takedowns in 6 UFC fights, solid 72% takedown defense. She's coming off that win over Lena Landsberg, where let's not forget she was dropped in that fight and then had to put together the grappling to get that win. She's taking on Norma Dumont. Good striker. She's very relaxed. She's very patient. Her striking is technical. She had 100% takedown defense before her fight with Macy Chasson, where I think she was just caught off guard more than anything. If you look at her strike differential, she's landing about 4-2. So she's got a very nice striking differential. And she does have solid grappling as well. Takedowns are not the best, but she does have 7 takedowns in 6 UFC fights. And she's going to be the bigger fighter here. Karol Rosa is going up in weight. So Norma Dumont's going to be bigger, stronger, the more powerful fighter, the more powerful wrestler. I know everybody wants to make the obvious, ooh, her butt. That's not me, guys. I'm all class.
That thing, when I was watching film, it took me a while to get through this fight with film. That thing, she tries to hide that thing with the spandex, with the shorts over, but when that thing starts going, oh boy, there's no stopping it.
Anyway, Norma Dumont, when I broke this down on Sunday for Quick Picks, she was plus 125. She is now minus 116. I completely agree with those odds. I have a bet on her as well for flipping from underdog to favorite, following the line movement tracker. She was already my pick, unlike the last fight we broke down. Norma was my pick no matter what, regardless of the line movement. So betting on her wasn't too difficult to do once I saw everything go. But Karol Rosa is definitely a gamer. We did just see her out-grapple Lena. We also saw her get dropped. I do think Norma wins this fight, but Karol could come in, stay in her face, just be super busy with the strikes, super active, and sneak out a decision. But Norma Dumont's going to be the pick, we think, Jakey Boy.
You know what's funny is this is like one of the most prototypical fights that you should not bet because it's a female fight that's probably most likely going to a decision, which means it's going to be up to the judges. And yeah, we're back in Vegas, but who the hell knows what the judges are going to do in a fight like this? And it's so funny because we both have bets on this fight. I'm on the Karol Rosa side because I believe everything you said about Dumont is probably 100% correct, right? She's a good striker. She can offensive wrestle. She's got defensive takedown defense. The issue with her striking is she's a very clean striker, a point fight striker, will stay at distance and kind of pick your part. Boom, boom, boom. And if that's this fight, she'll definitely win this fight. I mean, she will control the pacing of this fight. She will control the striking exchanges, and she will win this fight. The issue is Karol Rosa is not that girl. She does not play that game. She wants to get inside. She wants to get in those clinch positions, and she wants to kind of work for those takedowns. I don't know if she's going to be able, especially up in weight, I don't know if she's going to be able to get the takedowns. I think it's going to be mostly Karol Rosa holding Norma Dumont against the cage, working for takedowns, but just kind of controlling positions, and Dumont not being aggressive enough to get her back off the cage. And Karol Rosa is going to win this fight on the judges' scorecards because she's the one that's being aggressive. She's the one pushing forward. She's the one that's trying to engage in the takedowns. And I just think that she's going to do more in this fight. And she is the girlfriend of Denise Gomes. Lock of the week last week. You saw the intensity that she brought into her fight. Big win. Lock of the week. Karol Rosa is going to bring that intensity as well. I couldn't believe that she was an underdog in this fight, and I took the value in it. So we're on opposite sides here.
Yeah, we are. And Mr. Savage saying Rosa's not 5'5". Yes, the fuck she is.
Ooh.
Dumont's not 5'7". Yes, the fuck she is. I don't know where the hell you're getting your information from. I'm getting it from the official UFC stats, so it's awkward for you. You're not worried about Karol Rosa's size here?
Nah, she's aggressive enough. Denise Gomes was much smaller than Brazil, too, and that didn't really matter.
Yeah, but she wasn't small. Yeah, she was just shorter. She wasn't smaller. Karol Rosa is
Dumont's not I think we both agree that neither one of these girls are dangerous, right? But when it comes to like an aggressive dog type fighter, I just don't see it in Norma Dumont. I think that the aggression of Karol, I think she's going to be able to bully her around. Size or not, I think mentally she's going to get bullied.
First of all, bro, watch. She's going to be taller. So I have actual facts based off of the source of information. And then, I mean, if this isn't America in a nutshell. No, you're wrong, bro. Watch. When I have actual facts.
Nah, that's not my truth.
Yeah, alternative facts. And then Doug said, when will the round lines be up? I'll tell you right now, I have a round line bet on this fight for premium members. The round line leans are already up, and now you're going to get more than just mine. So if you go to WeWantPicks.com, you're a premium member, you log in, you're going to see in the menu, it's going to say analyst. You're going to see me, Jacob, and Artem. I have round line leans for every single fight. Right there on my page, Artem does the same. Round line leans for every single fight on his page as well. It's in an interactive chart. You can do whatever you want with that data. So you're going to get them from multiple people. You're also going to see our confidence picks and bets. So it's already there now. The site got I don't want to say a facelift because it was beautiful to begin with, but we've sort of changed how it's laid out. So that
would that be fair? No, because that implies
we
that
just
it's
changed the
getting old
layout.
too. Yeah.
We just changed the layout.
What's a good analogy?
We
new a new push-up brawl possibly.
We moved the parts around. So there's a couple analogies there that I'm not going to touch.
Oh, let's get into it.
You and I, opposite sides of this fight. You want to throw 100 at this one too? Money line, straight up.
I
didn't think so.
Let me check my account real quick.
Absolutely.
Let me check my. No, I do. Yeah, I will. Yeah, because I get paid. So it should be fine. I might not be able to pay you until Monday. Is that okay? But it should be okay. It should be okay.
Yeah, you're good for it. You're good for it. Absolute bum. All right, so we're on opposite sides of this.
But
I do not.
Bet, right?
Yeah, $100.
Okay.
Much straight up money line. While I do think Norma wins, I already do have a bet on her. And now another one with Jakey Boy. I don't think she's worth $8,300 in DraftKings because this will be a decision, and I don't see a ton of anything outside of strikes. And you need insane volume to be worth your money in DraftKings with just strikes. If it's just strikes and you're landing the normal amount, then she's going to score 70-something in a win. We're going to need more than that. So I'm not throwing in DraftKings. You going to throw Karol Rosa on your DraftKings at 7,900?
No, I think it's going to be kind of like that Lena Landsberg, fight, a lot of clinch work. And actually, I looked at the stats as I was saying that.
That could
she
count
did
as
score.
Control time. Yeah.
Well, she had landed 160 strikes in that fight, in that clinch. 30 boxing. Her and
she also had takedown.
Yeah, takedown as well. But I think it's just mostly just kind of holding. I think it's just a lot of holding against the cage, and I would. There's much better places for this. I mean, you can get either. I mean, for basically the same price, you can get either Usman or Tafa. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yes. The difference is somebody on that Usman Tafa fight's going to score 0 points.
I think either one. I think it's worth the risk because both these girls, even in a wins, could score 50.
Sure. Well, WeWantPicks.com. Unlock everything, including the round line leans that we just talked about. It is only $10 a month. That's going to get you 4 events. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have my most confident pick on the card and the biggest favorite on the card. Montel, did you me?
Yeah.
Okay, we got Montel Jackson taking on Rani Yahya. Rani Yahya, 28-10 overall, 3-1-1 in his last 5. He's coming back after more than a year away. He's taking on Montel Jackson, 12-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He is riding a nice 3-fight win streak. And Rani Yahya, not to disparage him, we've made money on him in the past. We picked him in the past. He's a very high-level BJJ guy.
Not a jiu-jitsu nerd.
He's not a jiu-jitsu nerd. He will stand there. He will strike. He's got almost 40 professional fights, and when you're around that long, you develop other skills. And he has developed striking. He will stay there. He will set a relentless pace, shooting takedowns. So when we say he's not a jiu-jitsu nerd, it doesn't mean
Decent
he doesn't.
takedowns too. They're not bad. Little outside, inside trips with him, little back trips, little step overs, a little strong whizzers, a little single, a treetop. The blast doubles. He works the inside out off the single head position.
You actually are saying actual moves, and I'm 1,000% sure you have no idea what any of them are.
I mean, he'll ankle pick you. He'll do it with the shoe between the legs like this, and hold the legs closed like this, and then just drag you down, run the piping.
When we say jiu-jitsu nerd, it's like the butt scooting dorks that don't have takedowns, and their only path to victory, is on the ground. Who was the last one that was literally butt scooting? Dan Hooker knocked his clown ass out. Yeah, Claudio Playas was straight up
with Imanari rolls. Could you imagine rooting for a guy that goes in there with Imanari rolls, looking for heel hooks, just sitting on his ass?
It's embarrassing, really. It's embarrassing, really. Well, that's not Rani Yahya. He's got all the grappling credentials you could ever want. Insanely dangerous on the ground, but he will shoot takedowns and work to get it there on his own, not just desperate pull guard. Please. He's taking on Montel Jackson. Problem for Rani is Montel Jackson is a very good wrestler, and he's got solid jiu-jitsu skills as well. He's good everywhere. He's got a full resume of knockouts with insane power. He's got decisions. He's got submissions. His takedown accuracy is impressive at 71%. He's averaging 3 per fight. He's coming off that dominant win over Julio Arce. So Montel Jackson, very good wrestler with insane power in his hands. He should have good enough jiu-jitsu defense. I see Montel Jackson defending every single one of these takedowns, just absolutely blasting 38-year-old Rani Yahya in the face, probably winning by stoppage, definitely avoiding the submissions, but obviously it's an MMA fight. Anything is possible. I trust Montel Jackson. I think these odds are pretty correct, and honestly, they could probably be a little wider and still be good. Montel Jackson, very easy pick for me. Totally safe to parlay. What do you think?
Yeah, Rani Yahya is going to absolutely
shut the fuck
destroy this guy, Montel Jackson, because of no, I'm just kidding. I mean, I have Montel Jackson in this fight, and the issue for Rani Yahya is when he goes to the ground, he's not like an auto submission guy, right? I mean, he has a lot of submissions, he's very high level, but there's some people that if you go to the ground, it's like, you are probably, I mean, it's stupid as it says, Julian Robertson is one of those people. Just every time they find themselves on the ground, it seems like they're able to get submissions. Amanda Hiestand is another one, you know what I mean? Norma Dumont another one, Gloria the Ball is another one, if we're talking about that Randy girl from Bellator.
How many rants in one breakdown are you going to do? Okay.
That voice there? That voice there?
Continue.
Get a little upset? But he's not going to be an automatic submission, which is good for Montel Jackson because he does like to wrestle in this fight. The easiest breakdown for this fight is Montel Jackson should treat Rani Yahya like a heavy bag. Just treat him like a heavy bag. You don't try and take down a heavy bag. And by working him like a heavy bag too, is you can't just headhunt Rani Yahya because he is tough. He can eat shots and he will time those big power shots with takedowns. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that Montel gets a little aggressive on the striking. Rani's times a takedown and gets him to the ground. But if Montel Jackson just treats him like a heavy bag, work the body, work the head, the knockout shot should find itself, and you don't even have to mess around on the ground with a guy as high level as Rani. So Montel should be fine on the ground, even if it goes to the ground. I don't know why he would mess around with that. Just keep with the strikes, work the body, work the head. Should be pretty easy.
Yeah, I completely agree. Honestly, I think obviously we're on the same page. I just completely agree with even if he gets the takedowns, he should be fine.
Right.
Because like you said, Rani Yahya is a very dangerous grappler, but he's not the male Mackenzie Dern. It's not just like you're instantly in trouble.
That was the one. Oh, you just kind of embarrassed me. Because I left that out, but you brought it. That was a good one.
That's what I do. Bring that heat. I think you could do everything with Montel Jackson, including this absurd price point. You don't even see Amanda Nunes at $9,700. That's an insane price point.
I bet she will be. I bet she will be in a few weeks.
In the greatest, speaking of trilogy, female rematches, the greatest trilogy. I'm so glad that's headlining a pay-per-view as well. That's incredible. Nothing like $80 after a $6 a month subscription.
They should have put Ricky Simone and Song Yadong ahead of that fight for a pay-per-view main event. It would have been much more fun.
And it's not even a slight to Amanda Nunes because I'll watch Amanda Nunes fights all day. We've already seen her beat the absolute piss out of this woman. How many times are we going to watch that?
For 6 rounds, basically. Well, yeah. I mean, because she was beating the shit out of her in the first round of that fight. She basically beat her so bad that she tired herself out from beating her up so bad in that first round. Yeah. Just couldn't put her away and got tired.
No, and honestly, it's the UFC taking advantage of Canada. Canadians love UFC. The UFC is basically like, we'll sell this place out no matter who we put on this card.
That is a good point.
So that's what they did.
I think you're stupid. Dana White thinks Canadians are stupid. Pass it along.
But we don't, and if you're a Canadian, you sign up for Premium today, I'll give you everything for just that $10. Everything. WeWantPicks.com, $10, everything. If you're Canadian, all of it.
God rest the Queen.
Click, become a member.
Long live the King.
We have a $2 super chat from a non-Canadian, Joe Todoro. $2 super chat, upgrade the peas to green beans. I see the lights off, so Tiffany's on. These are starting to. I do need.
You cooked them.
I do.
You're gonna open it up, start eating them.
Throw a ham hock in there. We got soup. I do need a colder bag. I did too much.
So someone did say the next time Jacob comes over, he's gonna have peas and pea soup. But peas are literally the worst. The worst food on planet Earth are peas.
Peas with bacon, pea soup. I like all that crap. It's $10 US, James Cameron. 10 United States.
You think that's the real James Cameron?
It might be. I know he's a big fight fan. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we got Ricky. Very surprised about something in this picture. Glenn. taking on Christos Giagos. Ricky Glenn is 22-6 overall, 2-2-1 in his last 5. And he's coming off that come-from-behind draw with Grant Dawson. And it was a draw because he gave up the first 2 rounds and came back hard with a 10-8 in the third to tie that thing up. And he's taking on Christos Giagos, 19-10 overall, 2-3 in his last 5, coming off a grapple-heavy loss. 3 grapple-heavy losses in a row. Ricky Glenn's a volume striker. He's going to stand tall. He's going to march forward. But he still manages to stay out of the pocket. He does have very legit power. He's a threat early in any fight. And as we saw in that Grant Dawson fight, he's never out of a fight. He will continue to come forward and try to make something happen. He's taking on Christos Giagos, who's a grappler and, like Glenn, also is never out of a fight. We've seen him several times come back from what is going to be a decision loss and then pull out a submission and get it done. His striking can definitely use some work. He does have a negative striking differential, but he is unorthodox and he does wing punches with power. This is a tough fight to break down. Neither one of these guys is like insanely active. We've definitely seen holes in both their games. Christos could come forward, get the takedowns the same way that Ricky Glenn's last opponent did, right? Because Grant Dawson had success out grappling Ricky Glenn, at least in the first 2 rounds. And Christos could do more of the same, but I'm going to go Ricky. I'm going to go Ricky as the pick here because I think the skill gap on the feet is wider than the skill gap on the ground, and Ricky does have solid submission defense. So I think Ricky's going to be able to touch up Christos on the feet, get things going. This line tightened a bit, but Ricky's the pick. I'm going to avoid that minus 170. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I don't even think I have much to add to the breakdown. That was pretty much everything I was going to say. I completely agree that Christos is probably going to come in. He's a little sloppy on the hands, could get touched up, going to default to the wrestling, and Ricky Glenn should be able to make him work in the wrestling, wear him down, reverse positions, and kind of win this fight, either by decision. I'm looking at this fight, and I can't decide if it's like, oh, one of these guys is definitely going to finish the other guy, or if it's going to be an all-out war for 15 minutes, because, as you mentioned, both these guys are absolutely tough. I would side with Ricky a little bit on the durability, because Christos is a little bit more hittable in those situations, but, yeah, I think Christos comes in, could have some early success, gets a little bit tired and worn down, and Ricky either finishes them or is able to take over and kind of win this decision. So I see this fight kind of the exact same way you do, and I think Ricky is the pick, but if Giagos is on his back early, I know that the Grant Dawson thing was a little bit different, but Giagos is a very, very aggressive grappler. I mean, he will snatch things up very, very quickly. So if he's on there dry and early, you might be a little bit worried if you're betting on Ricky, but he should be able to stay safe and get it done.
Yeah, so we're on the same side here. I'm not touching that. That's still a wide line for 2 incredibly tough guys. If Christos,
Giagos is dangerous, yeah.
Yeah, he's dangerous and tough, and we've seen him come back. We've seen him
He'll take chances, and those are always dangerous people that take chances.
Yeah, so I'm just going to enjoy this fight. It should actually be a lot of fun. We'll just enjoy it. We'll watch it. Not going to bet it. I'm not going to throw that $9,000 in DraftKings on Ricky either. But if you do want to unlock the DraftKings optimizer, if you guys are new here and you're building DraftKings contests either to try to chase that $100,000 or just to beat your friends in a cash league, we have a full slate of DraftKings information for you. We have an optimizer to help you build a whole bunch of lineups. It'll literally build lineups for you. We have player pool rankings. So we'll say, hey, if you're doing a cash game, these are the rankings of by salary who you should have in your lineup. Same thing with GPP, core, etc. We have salary rankings, and we also have the best ownership in the game, period, end of story. Our ownership projections, by far the best in the game. And we have leverage. Leverage is a proprietary number. We're the only ones that come up with this number. And it's to help you find spots. It's to help differentiate you from other people in these tournaments. WeOwnPicks.com, $10 a month to unlock all of that. And then we have a $2 super chat from Goku asking about this weekend's boxing, Tank or Garcia, with what method. Honestly, I don't know enough. Obviously, I like Gervonta Davis, but I don't know enough to make a pick or anything like that. I appreciate the super chat. Jacob, you know dick about this fight?
I think that Tank's definitely going to win, but I don't think it's going to. I already put a bet on the over. The over-under was at 7.5. I think both these guys, the worst thing that could happen for both these guys' careers right now, in the prime of their careers, I know that Ryan Garcia is a little bit younger, but in the prime of their careers is getting knocked out, right? They can take a loss. One of these guys can take a loss, but getting knocked out would really, really hurt their career. So I think they both get in there, kind of play it safe, because neither one wants to get knocked out, and I think somebody wins the decision. It's probably going to be Tank with a little bit more of the powerful shots to win over the judges, because he is a tank. So
he's a tank. He's pretty active. He just fought a few months ago after getting arrested.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be a warm-up fight. And somebody mentioned that, I think in the Discord, I think it might have been Fifth, honestly, that it was like Ryan Garcia's coming in this. Tank's making him cut even more weights at 135 instead of one whatever. And Ryan Garcia is coming back without a tune-up fight. I mean, that's a very popular thing in boxing to do, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so sorry, don't know much about that fight, but it sounds like Jakey does. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have Jeremiah Wells taking on Matt Semelsberger. Jeremiah Wells, 11-2 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. He is riding a 5-fight stoppage streak, and he's taking on Matt Semelsberger, 11-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. And he's coming off that underdog win over Jake Matthews. He embarrassed Jake Matthews in that fight. Jake Matthews, permanent
over
fade.
that.
Oh, yeah. Wink, wink, both sides. Jake Matthews, permanent fade after what Matt Semelsberger was able to do to him. This should be a fun fight, and it's an interesting fight because I'll tell you right now, I think Jeremiah Wells wins, but you can't bet against Matt freaking Semelsberger. Jeremiah Wells has 3 fights in the UFC with 3 stoppage wins. Well-rounded guy. We've seen him showcase striking, like when he knocked out Court McGee, who's insanely tough. Same with Warley Alves. We've seen him with his grappling skills against Blood Diamond, Mike Mathetha. It always sounds like I have a lisp. It always sounds like you have a lisp when you say that guy's name. But anyway, he just fights like a big, powerful striker. He's got explosive hands. But what everybody forgets is he has a BJJ black belt, and he's used it. He's an accomplished black belt. He throws wild. He throws with intent. And then he gets his takedowns, and he can submit you as well. Jeremiah Wells, very well-rounded, very dangerous. He's taking on Matt Semelsberger. He's an aggressive striker. He marches forward. Solid leg kicks. Good body work. He has power, but a lot of his finishes are just forward pressure and grit. He's a hard guy to get out of there. He's a hard guy to get out of your face. And he's coming off that gritty win over Jake Matthews where he worked in 3 takedowns and 3 knockdowns. If I didn't have so much respect for how dangerous and tough Matt Semelsberger is, Jeremiah's the easy pick. He's insanely dangerous. He's got powerful hands. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. And I think he should win this fight. I think he's going to have the more powerful strikes, which is crazy to say because everybody knows how hard Matt Semelsberger hits. He's going to have the better jiu-jitsu. The wrestling is probably going to go to Matt Semelsberger. Jeremiah Wells is the pick. Absolutely no bet whatsoever because Matt Semelsberger terrifies the shit out of me. But this is even money, and I think Jeremiah Wells is just the better fighter of the two of them. And at even money, why wouldn't you bet on the better fighter? You obviously disagree. Go ahead. Say whatever stupid shit you have to say.
Hey, you get mad before I even start talking.
Because you're so annoying with the fucking stupid noise. You're so
because I know I'm right. I mean, when I know I'm right, I know I'm right. So we can bet on this fight too if you want. But
$100.
Actually,
no.
No, because let me do my breakdown first.
When I know I'm right, I'm right.
No, this is what I was saying. I could not wait to fade Jeremiah Wells. I didn't care who he was fighting. I was going to fade him no matter what. And then I saw that he was fighting Matt Semelsberger, and I was like, shit. Because sometimes Matt Semelsberger does do some stupid shit, either in the striking, sometimes he wrestles when he shouldn't wrestle, and in this situation, he could get caught up in either a firefight with Jeremiah Wells, which he's probably going to lose, or he could get caught up in scrambles, and as Angelo mentioned, he could probably lose that too. But I believe that Matt Semelsberger is the better overall fighter. Jeremiah Wells is a terrible striker.
You just said that Matt Semelsberger would lose a firefight on his feet. He would lose a striking match on his feet, and he would lose a grappling match. And then you said he's the better overall fighter.
Yeah, are you gonna let me finish? I was like about to tell the story, and then you interrupted. You see how it works? Jeremiah Wells' striking is absolutely awful. It is terrible. He is part of that Renzo Gracie Philly camp that just, I don't know what their striking coach is doing. Pat Sabatini, his striking never improved over the last 4 years. He got knocked out. Sean Brady, his striking never improved over the last whatever. He gets knocked out by Bilal Muhammad. Jeremiah Wells, all he does is just throw wild shit as hard as he can, and so far it's been working out for him. I mean, if he lands on Matt Semelsberger, he's probably going to knock him the fuck out. His takedowns are terrible. Even against Blood Diamond, he had a double underhooks and had to just kind of muscle through positions for takedowns. That's how he gets takedowns. Semelsberger is the better wrestler. He's the better striker. That's why he's the better overall fighter, Angelo. He's just not as good in the jiu-jitsu. So Semelsberger should come in, Know that the big wild shit's coming. Beat him to the punch with nice straight shots. I want everything straight down the pipe. No looping shit, because Jeremiah will beat you to the punch and he will knock you out. And I don't want any offensive wrestling from Semelsberger. I don't want any of it. Keep this standing. You just beat a grappler who thought he was a striker. Do the exact same thing here. Jeremiah Wells thinks he's a striker. His striking is terrible. He just throws wild shit. Don't let it land. Beat him to the punch. Get inside and handle your business. Because, but like I said, sometimes Semelsberger does some stupid shit. So that's why I am a little bit nervous for him. But he's going to be my pick.
Sure, you're going to speak as confidently as you just spoke and then back out of a bet.
I just said I can't trust him. Why would I bet him?
I trust my guy. I'll bet him.
Well, put a money line bet on him. Let's see it in premium.
It was to bet you.
Oh.
Because I disagree with you.
I trust my guy. I can't believe you talked all that shit and then you didn't even bet. I trust my guy. Okay, put a money line bet on him.
This is why I'm the favorite. I think I'm the favorite, right? I think the community likes me more than you.
Fucking clown show. Move on to the next fight. What are we doing?
$8,400 in DraftKings, $7,800 in DraftKings. Who do you think's the better DraftKings value?
I'd stay away from both of them probably, because
it's decent. It's decent value. I mean, it actually is decent value because Jeremiah Wells has been putting up those numbers. So he's worth it according to every fight he's had in the UFC so far. But Matt Semelsberger, as tough as he is, not sure yet what I'm going to do with DraftKings there. But go to WeWantPicks.com, unlock all the DraftKings tools, and that might help you guide you. Maybe the ownership, maybe the scoring projections, maybe the player rankings, something like that will guide you into the right spot here. Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we have my second most confident pick on the card. We have Iasmin
These
Lucindo.
have got wider too.
Since I made this graphic?
Yeah, I think it's minus 340 now. I think it was even more than that.
It did yo-yo. I did this at 8 o'clock this morning. I updated it. Anyway, we got Iasmin Lucindo taking on Brogan Walker. Iasmin Lucindo 13-5 overall. 4-1 in her last 5, and she's coming off a loss in her UFC debut. She's taking on Brogan Walker, 7-3 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, coming off that stoppage loss in the Ultimate Fighter finale. I think Iasmin Lucindo wins this fight. She's a grappler. She uses her power to clinch. She drags you to the ground. Once she's on the ground, she's got top pressure like crazy. And she's going to use the strikes to loosen you up and then transition to a submission. Striking is just okay. She really just waits to throw, and then she's going to counter, rush, and then look for those takedowns. Her game plan is always get on top, get the control, and then work from there. She is coming off a loss in her UFC debut where she could not get her grappling going, but she's fighting Brogan Walker. And Brogan Walker does have some quality wins. She's been around for a while. She's been a professional since 2014. And it's not just that she's been around for a while. She has some good wins. She beat Miranda Maverick on the regional scene. She fought some other UFC level people on the regional scene. She has a BJJ black belt. She's had it for a few years. She fancies herself as a striker, though. But we did just watch her get taken down and beat up by Juliana Miller, who we now know is
fraud.
Just really tough. She's really tough. She's really tough. My notes on Brogan Walker, I was very high on Brogan Walker against Juliana Miller. It was, Juliana's a dog, but Brogan should be the better, more experienced, more well-rounded fighter. That was going into that fight. That's how I felt. Every time I watch these fights, I have my spreadsheet in front of me. I'm taking notes on what's happening so that when I break that fighter down again, I have, recap of what happened. My notes on Brogan Walker while watching that fight were awful. Has no takedown defense. How did she beat Miranda Maverick? So clearly, Iasmin Lucindo is going to be my pick here. If Juliana Miller's taking Brogan Walker down whenever she wants to, Iasmin Lucindo should do the same. She should absolutely dog Walker. She is tough. She is gritty. Under 2.5 is probably the best play here, and especially for a female fight. Those are few and far between. But I'm on the Lucindo side, and I think it's going to look a lot like that Juliana Miller fight. What do you think?
Yeah, that's like plus 205 money. I got it for like plus 225 for the premium members. But
why don't you shut the fuck up and stop giving away the premium bets?
Well, I got much more where that came from. I can give away bets because I got plenty more where that came from. I don't know if there's any and this is going to sound awful, but I don't know if there's any cause for concern when it comes to the Lucindo side, because Brogan Walker isn't a dangerous fighter, and people are going to say, oh, she survived versus Erin Blanchfield. As Angel mentioned, oh, she beat Miranda Maverick. Neither one of those girls are dangerous girls, right? So you can kind of work those girls or survive versus a girl like Erin Blanchfield. Lucindo is a different animal. I mean, she is an aggressive. Everything she does, she is like, she's, I think, 21 years old. She looks like just a wild, aggressive 21-year-old girl inside the octagon. In the striking, she will just bite down, throw wild. In the grappling, as Angel mentioned, she is a finisher on the ground once she gets on top, and she's very good on the ground. Brogan Walker, her path to victory is to somehow get top position and just lay and pray for 15 minutes. And the issue is, for her, is that Lucindo does not slow down. You saw that in the last fight. She will keep pushing forward no matter what. So even if she loses the first round, gets taken down, she's going to come out with the exact same energy and the same dog as she brings into this fight. And I just don't think Brogan Walker can do that for 15 straight minutes to win this fight. So I really have no pause for concern against Lucindo. I'm pretty loaded up on her with a few different things, and we'll see how it plays out. But, a lot of people are doing that MMA math, and I think it actually works here. The Juliana Miller beat the shit out of her, and then she got the shit beat out of her. It's a bad recipe for Brogan.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, while she doesn't have more fights on her record, she does have more higher level experience. She has the better slate of opponents. Granted, she lost most of those, but she has fought the better opponents overall. I agree. I think Lucinda gets it done. I think she blows through Brogan here, especially if this is what Brogan... If Brogan looks like in this fight what she did in her last fight, she should get right through her. And it's funny because somebody in the comment section said Brogan looked good on The Ultimate Fighter, but I was talking to Josh, our web guy. We have two Joshes, and he actually watched that entire season, and he was like, she sucked there too. So it's just so funny to see people have completely different takes on the same thing. It's just so funny to see that. Yeah. Anyway, you and I are pretty high on...
People are talking about Erin Blanchfield sucks.
Don't listen to Jacob. Jacob says this all the time.
No, she actually does suck. Her and Macy Barber are the two worst female fighters in the UFC. Macy Barber's finally about to get exposed by my girl Amanda Ribas, and Erin's time will come.
Okay. Anyway, I'm spending the $9,500 on Lucindo. I do think she wins. I think she wins inside the distance. I'm not going to bet that, but I do think she gets it done. There's a whole bunch of bets on this fight at WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 to unlock premium. And premium is far more than just copy-paste bets. You can see all of our bets, all of our picks, all of our round line leans. You also see the raw notes and then the tools. So many tools, so much information to help you find your own spots as well. WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10. Just click, become a member. Then we have Bobby King Green taking on Jared Gordon. Bobby Green, 29-14 overall, 2-3. In his last five. He's coming off that second round KO loss to Drew Dober. He's taking on Jared Gordon, 19-6 overall, 3-2 in his last five. He's coming off that controversial loss to Paddy Pimblett, where a lot of people think he won that fight.
He got smoked.
Who did?
Jared Gordon. I had that 30-26 for Paddy.
Okay, now you're just saying stupid shit. Bobby Green, we know him by now. We've broken him down a million times. He's got that Roy Jones Jr. style boxing. Woo! He's a solid striker. He puts on a show. Hands are always down. Super busy. Solid defense for the most part. Really good volume. Really good defense. Slick wrestling when he wants to use it. He does have 10 knockouts under his belt. Only like one or two of them are just big one-punch knockouts. The rest of them are just volume and speed and beating people to that punch, avoiding the shots, counter-striking. He's only 2-3 in his last five. And a lot of people, even in the Discord, like Angelo, how are you so high on Bobby Green? He's 2-3 in his last five. First of all, he's coming off that loss to Drew Dober. He whooped Drew Dober's ass in that first round. Whooped his ass. Absolutely whooped his ass. Then he got caught, and Drew Dober has an insane chin. Before that, he lost to Islam on short notice. Okay, he's the current champion right now.
And almost won.
Current champion. He was out-wrestled.
He was dominating until the takedown.
And then his loss before that was a decision loss to Rafael Fiziev, where he won that third round, and Fiziev is the most technical striker in the division. Obviously, we just watched Gagey grit out a win, but technique-wise, Fiziev's the most technical. So Bobby Green, much better than his 2-3 in his last five. Taking on Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon, he's well-rounded, right? He's a good wrestler. He's got solid pressure, solid striking. He does jump between featherweight and lightweight. He should be a featherweight. He's going to be undersized here. And you can see the size difference in some of these lightweight fights. He does have solid volume. He likes to come forward. He's got flurries, and he looks for those takedowns. He averages more than 2 takedowns per fight. But if you push a grappling game plan, you could have some success against him. I like Bobby. I think this is Bobby Green all day. And no offense to Jared Gordon. I think he won that Patty fight. And I think it sucks that he didn't get that win because that's sort of career affecting. I think the UFC gave him Bobby Green to shut him up. I think they want Jared Gordon to lose another fight so they don't have to worry about putting him against Paddy Pimblett again. I think they just want him out of there because they know he can beat Paddy, and there's like a narrative there now. But I think Bobby's got too good of takedown defense. His hands are too good. Well, Jared's busy, but he doesn't have that power. So I think Bobby Green just sort of touches up Jared and outboxes the hell out of him for 3 full rounds. Bobby Green, confident pick, and I think he's safe to parlay as well. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I'm a little bit biased because I'm a big Bobby King Green fan. I have been for a long time. I called the knockout of Iasmin. You know, he hasn't knocked anyone out. And I said he can knock this guy out. I think he can knock Jared Gordon out, even though Jared Gordon is a tough dude. The reason they put Jared Gordon against Paddy is they knew that he could not knock Paddy out. Paddy is one of the most hittable guys I have ever seen in my life, and they knew that even if Jared Gordon is landing good shots, he's not going to knock out Paddy. So that's exactly what happened. That was a fight that he probably did win, but he never landed that knockout shot. If you can't hit a guy like Paddy, I don't know how you're going to touch a guy like Bobby Green. That guy is the most unhittable guy in the division. He finally got hit and clipped by Drew Dober, and that almost looked like a bad knockout, but it was crazy. I mean, it looked like he got flatlined. Bobby Green was up in 2 seconds, like, shit, man. Like, he was absolutely fine. So when people are being like, he got knocked out, you got knocked out, but he recovered, like, absolutely incredibly. He's out walking around, handled it like only Bobby Green can, but as the intro mentioned, just beating the fuck out of Drew Dober. I mean, just absolutely destroying Drew Dober in that fight. That could have been, honestly, like a 10-8 round without scoring a knockdown. He was beating him up so bad in that fight. Drew Dober just granite chin, moving forward, found the power shot that Jared Gordon just does not possess. So I'm not worried at all about Bobby Green in this fight. I don't think Jared Gordon out-wrestle Bobby Green. Bobby Green's a very good wrestler. Obviously, Islam is a different animal, but he's a very good wrestler. Even Drew Dober is trying to shoot takedown. They weren't even close in that fight. Bobby Green can wrestle. He's going to have that Philly shell. You can't touch him. And if this is a retirement fight, a lot of people are a little bit nervous about that, right? Oh, Bobby Green's talking retirement. How's he going to look? Bobby Green is going to be a guy that wants to go out on top. He's not going to be taking a fight off to retire. He wants to go out, and he's probably going to be even more aggressive than he normally is, and I love that in a fight against Jared Gordon, who I think is hittable and can get knocked out. I like Bobby Green in this fight. I think he gets it done inside the distance. He's going to make a point, knock him out, retire, do what he needs to do, and officially, he says he's changed his name to King when he's all done fighting. So
just King
it'll
Green.
be just King Green from here on out, baby. I'm a big fan of his.
Well, we're both on the Bobby Green side. $9,400 in DraftKings. I'm a little undecided there because I got to see how well he scores. I don't think he's going to stop Jared. I think it's just going to be busy, touch him up, busy, touch him up. So I got to see how well he scores in those decision wins because that's what I see this looking like. But we're both very confident on Bobby. I still think minus 255 is solid. Obviously, I talked about this earlier, right? I forget who I was breaking down where I said Danaa Bagharai. He's got 2 losses in a row. You just don't know what a fighter's going to do after that. The difference between Bobby Green and Danaa, as I mentioned earlier, is Bobby Green's 2 losses are quality losses. One is to the current champion. The other is to a guy that he was beating up and he got caught. A guy who's known to have the best chin in the sport, let alone the division.
In the world.
In
the world, I think is what you meant to say. Looking and durability.
He is a good looking dude. But Jesus anyway, so Christ. Bobby Green's a tried and true vet. Those are 2 losses to high level people that it's okay. So I think we're good here. I think Bobby Green's absolutely going to get this done.
Well, I was going to mention, you were talking about DraftKings. He landed 75 strikes in a round and a half versus Drew Dober, who is a little bit of a better boxer than Jared Gordon. And Drew Dober, by the way, landed 28% of the strikes. That's not a very high percentage. Bobby was at 51%.
Yeah, so Bobby Green should absolutely get this done. I do have some action involving him. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member to unlock that and everything else that we may have going. This might be a fun, significant strike prop bet. Fridays after weigh-ins, BetOnline drops, and I think DraftKings has these as well. Significant strike prop bets. Who's going to land more significant strikes in this fight? Obviously, that's going to be Bobby no matter what. So that's going to be a great bet if it's not juiced. Or they'll just give you a straight-up line. They may say 120. All right, well, let's do our research. We'll take a look. If you're a premium member, make sure the Discord is linked so you get the alert to your phone. We have had a ton of success with the takedowns and significant strike prop bets when we hit those. Lucky Tim said, don't you think they would have given Jared someone way better than Bobby to shut him up? No, because Jared's coming off of a loss. So they can't give him somebody ranked. So Bobby is probably the best unranked guy also coming off a loss.
Yeah, and I will say
Who
this.
else could they give him?
And I think I0 might have said this in Discord. Somebody said in Discord that if Bobby ended up beating Drew Dober the way that fight was going to go, and he was matched up against Jared Gordon, he probably would be minus 500 because he was beating the absolute living shit out of Drew Dober, and Jared Gordon is not better than Drew Dober. So,
no, completely agree. Completely agree. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have the new co-main event of the evening. We lost our original co-main event. That's getting pushed the next week, and as does my bet on that fight. So we have a new co-main event. We have Brad Tavares taking on Bruno Silva. This is a very hard fight to break down. Brad Tavares, 19-7 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off that loss to Dricus du Plessis. And he's taking on Bruno Silva, 22-8 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He is riding a 2-fight skid. Brad Tavares has been around for 100 years. Old school MMA fans know Brad Tavares. He was a hot prospect for a while. He's not very active, but he has been there for a while. He's been a staple at 185 pounds. He's 14-7 in the UFC. That's how long he's been in the UFC. 19-7 in his career, 14-7 in the UFC. So only 5 fights not in the UFC in a career that long. His losses are all to the upper echelon guys. Yoel Romero, Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, and then Dricus du Plessis. Solid striker, good takedown defense at 80%, and he's got just that Hawaiian fighting spirit. He's not a guy that you're going to get out of there, but he's also not stupid dangerous. He's not a guy that's going to one-punch KO you or submit you, right? He's going to be there the whole fight trying to get that win. And he's taking on Bruno Silva. I'm a big Bruno Silva guy, right? I've liked Bruno Silva. I've picked him a whole bunch of times. And he's proved to be really talented. He's proved to be tough. But he is on this 2-fight skid, right? He had 3 knockouts in a row before that skid. Very good striker, solid BJJ. He took down Alex Pereira twice, and that was a decision loss, right? He didn't get knocked out against Alex Pereira. That was a decision loss, but he was just dropped and then submitted against Gerald Meerschaert, and that's what makes this so tricky because if it's the Bruno Silva that fought and even lost to Alex Pereira, I think that guy beats Brad Tavares. That guy was coming forward, throwing bombs, working. He looked very good in that fight, and a lot of people are saying in the Discord, oh, Alex Pereira broke him. He's just not the same person. He wasn't knocked out. It was a decision loss. I don't know what broke him in that fight, right? And Alex Pereira went on to win the title after that. So the question then becomes, do I judge Bruno Silva based off of his last fight? Because his last fight was embarrassing. Losing to Gerald Meerschaert like that is embarrassing, especially after we just saw Gerald Meerschaert get flatlined and his chin went back to what it was in 2020. So, do you judge Bruno Silva based off of one fight? I personally am saying no. I think Bruno Silva wins this fight because even in the loss to Alex Pereira, he went out there, he stayed busy, he worked in takedowns, he had power, his striking looked good, and that was against the eventual middleweight champion. So I like Bruno Silva to win this fight. I'm not going to bet it because unlike a Bobby Green, this is a 2-fight skid that does worry me, and I don't know where his head is at. But I do like Bruno Silva to win this fight. Absolutely no money whatsoever because Brad Tavares is stupid tough. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what kind of happened with Bruno Silva was he fought the champion of the world. He lost a decision, and then he was matched up against a guy in Gerald Meerschaert where he was like, oh, yeah, I'll just knock this guy out. I mean, everyone is knocking out Gerald Meerschaert, even though before that he had won a couple fights in a row, but he knew that this guy was hittable. He came in, he was swinging. You saw every single punch he threw early. Wasn't interested in the grappling, wasn't interested in the wrestling because, as Anto mentioned, he's a good wrestler, good grappler, and obviously you don't want to do that against Gerald, but he literally was swinging every single punch to knock this dude out, and I don't know if people don't remember, but that was in that San Diego card, and they talked about how absolutely steaming that arena was. It was incredibly humid. DC was like a ball of sweat on the sidelines, not doing anything, and it was really affecting some of the fighters, and it really affected Bruno because he came in, was headhunting, was trying to knock this guy out, and Gerald, with his slow-ass head movement, was able to see those telegraph shots. I mentioned that for the Joe Piper breakdown, that Joe was going to beat him to the punch and knock him out. That's exactly what happened. But Bruno, I think, is the better fighter. I think he is the better fighter, but if he comes in frustrated, that same game plan against a hittable Brad Tavares and says, I'm going to try and put this guy out and swing wild, he's going to lose the fight again. He's going to lose the fight in the exact same fashion because Brad Tavares is a very well-rounded fighter. He's a durable guy. He can mix in some wrestling. Even if Bruno gets tired, he can mix in takedown too. So Bruno is a better fighter, but he's got to come in and fight like he normally fights. If he's headhunting, if he's trying to get a finish, Brad Tavares is tough enough to absolutely win this fight, and I think that's probably why he's the favorite. But I'm going Bruno because I think he does bounce back. There's no more humidity. There's no more weird things going on. It's not Gerald in front of him. I think he finds a way to get this done. I think he wrestles a little bit more in this fight.
I hope so. So we're both on the Bruno side. I'm surprised you picked him. Surprised you love your Hawaiians.
It's the right pick. Why wouldn't I pick him?
You like Hawaiian tough.
I've never been wrong, so why would I pick a wrong fight? I've never been wrong in my life.
That is true. $8,900 in DraftKings. Listen, even if you think Brad Tavares wins, he's not worth that $8,900 because he's not a finisher. He's just really tough and sticks around. He's not a finisher. So in order to score that $8,900, you're gonna have to put away Bruno Silva. I don't see that happening. And Bruno's a good dog at $7,300 in DraftKings.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mr. D, I don't know if this is official or not. It looks like some breaking news here. He says they were in San Diego. Bruno went to Tijuana the night before, drank 3 bottles of Patron, humped a donkey. He was in no condition to fight. So, that's allegedly. I don't know if that's official news or not, but some breaking news there from Mr. D. We appreciate that for the live chat.
Yeah, that is quite the hot take. Now we know. Both of us on the Bruno Silva side, good size underdog. That's actually is that the biggest underdog we've picked so far? I think it is. We on picks.com.
No, Gomis.
Well, you picked him. I didn't. This is the biggest underdog we both agreed on.
Gomis is like the 4th biggest underdog on the card, which that is like crazy.
Well, we already broke that fight down. We on picks.com. Do all the things. And if you don't have $10, you can't become a premium member, you should at least join the Discord. That is 100% free.
You can open up a new credit card. We take credit cards now.
Yeah, we did take credit cards now. Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we have the main event of the evening. We have the most obvious striker versus grappler matchup we've ever had. I mean, if this isn't a 1996 striker versus grappler matchup, I don't know what is. We got Sergey Pavlovich taking on Curtis Blaydes. Sergey Pavlovich, 17-1 overall, 5-0 in his last 5 with 14 knockouts under his belt. He's taking on Curtis Blaydes, 17-3 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, and he's riding a nice 3-fight win streak. Sergey Pavlovich, beast of a wrestler. Mostly a boxer, right? You're not going to see a lot of kicks from him, but beast of a striker. Did I say wrestler? No, I said striker. Anyway, mostly a boxer. You're not going to see any kicks. He's going to come forward, throw that power, and he has crazy speed for a heavyweight. His volume is impressive. He does trust his chin. He will stay in a pocket and just bomb away looking for that knockout. Trusting his chin can be an issue at heavyweight, but I don't imagine in this fight, Curtis does have power, but I don't imagine that's what Curtis is going to be looking to do here. But Sergey's speed is a problem for a lot of people. And now that Francis Ngannou is gone, I think we can confidently say Sergey Spivak is the hardest hitter in this division. Look what he did to Tai Tuivasa, who had a legendary chin. Sergey Pavlovich had no issue with that. Taking on Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes, he's a fantastic wrestler. What makes him such a fantastic wrestler is he's not a heavyweight wrestler. He doesn't look for the stupid clinches and the bullshit. He lowers his level, shoots takedowns, and runs right through you Jordan Burroughs style. He will touch your legs and then sprint to the other side of the cage to get that takedown. And it's incredibly successful to him. The dude averages more than 6 takedowns per fight, which is absolutely insane. He is coming off that win over Tom Aspinall, but that was a freak leg injury. You can't really count that as a win. This is very simply striker versus grappler. Curtis Blaydes has 3 losses on his record. All 3 of them are knockouts. 2 to Francis Ngannou, 1 to one to Derek Lewis. If Curtis Blaydes can get the wrestling going and avoid all the big strikes, he obviously wins this fight. I don't think there's anybody that'll disagree with that statement. But this could look exactly like the Derek Lewis fight where there's just a big boy uppercut waiting for him on the way in. I have to pick Blaydes here because he's the one that has the entire 25 minutes, right? He doesn't need to rush anything. He's got 25 minutes to take his down and take his time and shoot takedowns. He's got 25 minutes. He just has to avoid power and work in takedowns, where Sergey has to avoid every single takedown, because if he gets taken down, I don't see him getting back up. And people are like, oh, he's a Russian, he has wrestling background. It's not the same. This is MMA. Curtis Blaydes' MMA wrestling is honestly some of the best MMA wrestling you're going to see, especially at this division. And Sergey Pavlovich's loss is to Alistair Overeem. How did Alistair Overeem beat him, Jakey? He took his ass down.
It was a weird little trip takedown.
He went
to clinch. Sergey lifted his knee for some reason. I think he tried to knee Overeem, and he just kind of fell on his back, and so it wasn't a real takedown.
Okay, but he fell on his back against the striker. I think Curtis Blaydes is going to get the takedowns. Curtis Blaydes is going to be the pick here. No bet. I have not been betting main events, and it has been honestly quite enjoyable. Just get to watch the fight, enjoy the fight. But Curtis Blaydes is going to be Curtis Blaydes is going to be the pick. And am I worried about him getting knocked out? Yeah, of course. You'd be stupid if you weren't. What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, I think if Curtis, one of these guys, let me say this, one of these guys is going to look absolutely fantastic when this fight's over. I don't think this is a back and forth war. I don't think this is a back and forth. One of these guys is going to come out and you're going to be like, oh, of course they won. Right? I mean, it's either going to be Curtis with a takedown and just ground and pound, because you did mention the Overeem. That wasn't an actual takedown. But flat on his back, that dude is just a normal dude. I mean, he had nothing to offer off his back. So if Curtis gets him flat on his back, I think he finishes the fight on the first takedown. If Sergey is on the feet, I think he absolutely finishes Curtis Blaydes. The issue with Curtis Blaydes is, since that Derek Lewis fight, he's kind of backtracked on the wrestling a bit. Against Jairzinho, he had 3 takedowns, right? But if you watch that fight, it took him about 2.5 minutes to shoot that first takedown. He got it. Jairzinho was able to get back to his feet. The round ended. In the second round, it took him about, I think, like 3 minutes to shoot another takedown. Against Christos, didn't even shoot a takedown. Didn't even attempt a takedown in the first round of that fight. Against Tom Aspinall, it was very, very quick. I mean, very, very quick. But it didn't look like it looked like he was interesting and engaging in the striking. I mean, he was throwing back on Tom Aspinall instead of level changing into a takedown. I feel as though Curtis Blaydes, and he's always been a guy that said, I don't care if people think I'm boring. I actually enjoy knowing that they think I'm boring. I'm going to be extra boring. He's like, I'm a spiteful guy. I'm going to try to be extra boring. But it seems like he's starting to be one of those guys that's falling in love with his hands. And he has decent hands. I mean, he knocked out Chris Daukaus. He was striking with Jairzinho. It looked like he was going to strike with Tom Aspinall. But it seems like he's enjoying his hands a little bit too much. And all Sergey does is wait for you to throw that first strike. The first strike you throw, he's going to stalk you, and then he is just going to blitz in, and he is either going to win that exchange or he is going to lose that exchange. And every single time he has won that exchange, if Curtis Blaydes throws one punch before he shoots one takedown, he is going to lose this fight. Sergey is going to time it. He is going to blitz in. He is going to overwhelm this guy and swarm this guy and finish him and knock him out, as Curtis Blaydes has been knocked out before. So Curtis Blaydes doesn't have to come in and shoot a takedown in 5 seconds, but he needs to shoot a takedown before he throws a strike, or I think he is getting knocked out. But if he gets the takedown, he's going to win the fight. So, but I'm going Sergey here. I think Curtis has been messing around on the feet a little bit too much. He's not all in the wrestling. I'm going Sergey here to get it done.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with anybody on either side, because either one of these guys, they both have very, very clear paths. And the odds are actually surprising to me. Like, how is this not closer? You know what I mean? Like,
I was very surprised. I thought, honestly, when I saw this was announced, I wasn't really paying attention to the odds, and I was thinking about the fight and stuff. And I was like, oh, Sergey's probably going to be the favorite here. I mean, he's the big, not undefeated, but the big guy that's just knocking everyone out. And people hate Curtis Blaydes for whatever reason. I'm a Curtis Blaydes fan, but I'll probably be rooting for him in this fight. But
it's better for the. I mean, I would prefer Curtis Blaydes wins, because if Curtis Blaydes wins, then we get some. He says he's a bad matchup for John Jones. I think he's
talking all that talk, and people are very smart about that. They're like, listen, John Jones is not going to fight Curtis Blaydes. He's already saying that Stipe is probably going to be his last fight. He only came back because the second Francis was gone, he's like, oh, I'm back. He fights, he out wrestles Cyril Gane. He's probably going to beat Stipe, and then Curtis Blaydes going to be waiting. He's like, I think I'm done, guys.
Well, so it just opens the door for a couple more things if Curtis Blaydes wins. If Sergey wins, Sergey's an easy win for John Jones. Because I think John Jones is
I don't think
much more effective.
I don't think John Jones is going to fight either one of these guys. So it's going to be whoever. I mean, they might have to rematch this fight again for the title, for like the interim title or whatever, when John leaves. I don't know.
Well, we'll see what happens. Jacob and I are split on this fight. This is not a parlay fight. This is not like, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. This is.
If you're going to play it, it's if you're going to play anything, I think Sergey first round TKO KO is still plus 300, which seems a little bit.
Yeah, then that's
throw a little flyer on that.
Yeah, then fine. But like, you know, and there's always somebody in our comments section that was a genius. Oh, I bet this. There's always money to be made. Every fight has some big payout for, you know, that fighter won in that round by that method. But this is just, there's so many unknowns here. This fight could go either direction.
Oh, it's plus 210 now. I got it for plus 300.
Shut the fuck up giving away the premium bets, for fuck's sake.
They can't get the same value. That's why you got to become a premium member. You would have got alerted when I placed that bet for plus 300. Now it's down to plus 210. So that's why you got to become a premium member.
True. $7,400 in DraftKings, $8,800 in DraftKings. I think you absolutely need one of these people. Need to pick your side. $8,800 for Curtis Blaydes. Look at the numbers this dude puts up and wins. He took down Volkov 14 times. The numbers he puts up in these wins are astronomical. Same with Sergey Pavlovich. So, like Jacob said, this is not going to be a low-scoring, boring fight. One of these dudes is going to win and is going to win by stoppage. So, for sure, throw one of them in. Does not go the distance.
Is minus 900. You interested in putting 9 units on that?
I know. That's so much. It's like, just parlay that with, I don't know, God knows what. But anyway, WeWantPicks.com, $10 a month. You unlock literally everything, all the bets, all the things, including the tools. We got a line movement tracker. And I know I talk about this a lot, but this is a very valuable tool. This will help you identify line movement. It's very easy to look at odds if you don't know where they started, and if you don't know what they mean, it's a much trickier story to tell. But looking at the line movement tracker, it refreshes every day. Looking at the line movement tracker to see where those lines are going, where they're heading, very clear green, red movement. You can find your spots or hop off a train, right? Maybe you were thinking about somebody, you like them, but the line's going the other way. Let me just leave that alone. Or, let it keep going. I'm going to get even better value. So your decisions to make, but the information is here. Same with the metrics and analytics. We have a 38-column spreadsheet with conditional formatting for information on their last fights, information on their striking, their grappling, the odds. There's so much information there to help you find those spots. And not only is it in this massive 38-column spreadsheet, we also take it, divide it up into digestible chunks, and that is available on the website to interact with whenever you want. We also have the best DraftKings ownership in the game. I don't talk about this enough. Straight up, if you play DraftKings, you build lineups, you enter the big tournaments, you're chasing those big payouts. By far the best ownership in the game. This was last week's. We had a 3.37 margin of error. The next closest was 3.55, and that company charges $100 for their premium. It's a massive company. And we have a new look and feel. We're adding analysts. Artem is the first additional analyst on the team. There are more to come. There are conversations being had. There are people in the queue. And now we accept credit cards. One of the biggest things we got was, hey, I don't have PayPal. Hey, I don't have PayPal. Can I sign up for premium? Oh, can you do premium? We now accept credit cards. Literally, as of today, you can sign up for premium with a good old-fashioned credit card. You do not need a PayPal account. When you sign up, there's 2 buttons for checkout: PayPal, credit card. Whichever one makes sense for you. WeWantPicks.com. Only $10 a month. Click become a member. And if you want $50, I'll send you 50 clean ones. WeWantPicks.com/bets. We have 4 different sportsbook betting partners. You go to that page, you're going to see the partners, the pros, the cons, all the things. Find the one that makes sense for you. Make an account using our link, make a deposit, and we will send you $50 as a thank you. What do you have for us, Jakey boy?
Nothing.
Never do. $2 super chat from Joey T. Blaydes was a huge part of his big win. If you don't know, Joey T won $60,000 in a DraftKings tournament. Guys, thank you so much for the watch. Like, subscribe, do all the things. If you don't have money for premium or you're a little reluctant, it's fine. Join the Discord. Like, share, do those things. This could show just as much support as
Not
everything
as
else. Well, nothing is as supportive. And frankly, we do have, by far, we have thousands of premium members. It's by far the most successful premium membership on the planet, and that is thanks to every single one of you. It is all genuinely appreciated and is not gone unnoticed. Thank you all very much, and I don't know, more content the rest of this week.
Lock of the week tomorrow.